Well, thank you very much for a very generous welcome. Can I say first, I share the representative of the Mayor's acknowledgement of the traditional owners of the land on which we meet and pay my respects to elders past and present. I bring you the Prime Minister's greetings. I acknowledge my parliamentary colleagues, Julie Owens, Senator Lee Rhiannon, and representatives of local government and so many young leaders that have spoken to us tonight. As many of you know, I have, in my time in public life, been involved in many of the programs that have brought some of you here to Australia. And the Amadi community particularly are one of a number where they have fled oppression and been in need of sanctuary. I see my Sudanese friend, a similar background. I look at my Jewish friends and I know what we did for the Soviet Jewry. Australia is a very special place. We have brought people here from all over the world. Connie's message made it clear. 45% of us were either born overseas or have one parent born overseas. Close to 1/4 of our population are overseas born. It's a greater proportion than you see in any other countries of the world bar Israel and Luxembourg. It's not the United States, it's not New Zealand, it's not any of the European countries. We have a greater proportion of our population overseas born than most. And I say frequently, if cultural diversity, if difference is a problem, we should have the most significant problems of the world. But we don't. I don't regard it as perfect. Nothing is perfect. Nothing is perfect. But we do it pretty well. And we spend a lot of time focused on helping those people who come, to deal with torture and trauma, to help people through the settlement process. Our friends from the Migrant Resource Centres play a part in relation to that very work. It's not easy. And yes, for young people it can be far more challenging. That I understand. But here, it does work. But as Raj said in his comments, and I think they were very perspicacious, he's no longer with us, it's the unity in our diversity that matters. We don't bring people here to divide us. We bring them here to be part of us, respecting the differences, the cultures, the faiths. And all we demand is that there is a framework of law that enables all of us to be able to function and enjoy our life in this great country. And one of the reasons we're having this occasion, we haven't talked about it tonight, but we know it's there, is that in some parts of the world, these values that we see as so important are not accommodated. And so part of the role that I've had recently is to look at what we mean when we invite people to become part of our Australian family by citizenship. When our friend the Mayor and his colleagues conduct citizenship ceremonies, there is a pledge that people are expected to take. And they're in fact tested as to whether or not they understand some of those values that I'm speaking of, whether they accept them. People say to me, I'm an Australian, I was born here. I've never been given the chance to swear an oath to Australia. And we've got to ask the question, if people are born here, educated here, what do they understand of Australia and Australian values? What do they understand? How do we impart it? Perhaps through our education system, through curriculum. Do we test it? These are some of the questions that are relevant. I ask my Korean friends who aspire for peace, and I congratulate them in their efforts. I respect the Universal Declaration on Human Rights. But I suspect today, even amongst some of our own, those fundamental values are not as well understood as we would like. And I think one of the reasons we're having this occasion is to try and flesh out how do we impart it, not to those who are here, because I suspect that every one of you shares the same values that I do. It's how do we reach out and change those who perhaps don't appreciate and respect diversity in unity. And so I congratulate the Amaris for being courageous in pulling people together, the Imams for their leadership, which I have seen and respect. These issues are difficult for us. We're going to have to work and continue to work over time. And I hope there will be a time that the values that we see as so important, that we've demonstrated can be made to work, can be implanted in other parts of the world, where tragically, as I look at the circumstances every day, leave an enormous amount to be done. Thank you for allowing me to share with you. If I slip away, forgive me because I've got an early start in the morning, but thank you very much.